Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate. I'm Ken Dekker.
And I'm Ryan Dekker.
And we form part of the Dekker Team.
We do.
And some people would say we even sound alike.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the radio if we do.
We'll see.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about a question that was asked. How's buying an investment property different than buying a house that I want to live in?
Break that question down a bit for me. So in what ways do you want to know is it different?
Well, obviously we're buying a piece of real estate. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's different in the amount of down payment I need.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
So down payment, generally you're going to go 20 to 25% down as a minimum for an investment property. Mm-hmm. Now, some people I don't want to say get around this, but to get around this, they rent out their current home and they go buy another home, and then they're able to do 5% down on their new home.
Okay. And that may work.
For some people, yeah.
But one of the issues with renting a house you've lived in,
mm-hmm.
especially if you're planning on going back to it,
okay,
is tenants don't always look after things as well as owners do. Mm. And so you've got that emotional attachment to the house, even if you're not going back to it. Maybe you did the work yourself, you painted it, you decorated it, you made it look all nice, and then you go back a year later and the tenant's done a little bit of damage or wear and tear, or the moving out the furniture, they ding the walls or whatever, which is kind of typical when people mm-hmm. move in and out. And then suddenly you take that emotionally as opposed to being, it's part of business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just a cost.
Yeah. So what's the difference? I guess numbers are different because if you're buying a home for your own personal use, it needs to suit your lifestyle, but then also fit your financial budget. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the difference with an investment property when you're out there? And I'm thinking from the buyer's point of view, how do they change their mindset to move from buying a house for themselves to buying an investment property?
That's a great question. So most people, when we first sit down and they're deciding to buy an investment property, we need to help them get over that this is not their home.
Okay.
Right? And they need to make that decision. This is not my home. This is an investment property, and that's what it is. And they need to view it differently. And so when it comes to the numbers, we want to know, is the tenant's rent going to cover our mortgage payment, our insurance, our taxes, and maintenance, or is it going to cost us money every month? And not only that, where is it? Meaning, is it in the city or is it out in the country? And what's the property increase been doing over the last 40 years? And what do we expect it to keep doing in the future?
So it sounds like the buying decision is significantly around the numbers first, probably the conditions second, because then it requires how much maintenance or future upgrades are going to be required and cash flow for that. More than, do I like the color, do I like the neighborhood, or that type of thing.
Yeah, so often before I even go see a property with my investor clients, we'll do the numbers, or I'll do the numbers, and send it to them. And they'll know even before seeing the property if it's worthwhile seeing. And so we cut out a lot of properties knowing this isn't going to cash flow, and it's just not going to work for our needs.
Unless there's some extreme motivation on the seller's point where you could get it down to where the numbers actually work, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's interesting. So we're not looking for where the buyer would want to live. We're looking for where tenants want to live, or that there's a demand for rentals in that area. And sometimes that may be moving into or buying a property in a neighborhood where you wouldn't live.
Yeah. And now what's true with tenants is if you go to a place with really low rents, generally you're going to get a lower, what do you call that?
Class.
Yeah, I don't want to insult people who don't have as much money, and yet generally you'll get a lower class of tenant, and you'll have more issues, you'll have to do more repairs, that's just what goes with the territory. Right. Whereas if you're buying a more expensive property that rents are $2,500, you're getting a very different tenant, someone who can afford that, the way they look after it, and generally their job security, and there's just a very different tenant clientele.
Okay.
And so you can choose your area depending on what kind of tenants you want to be dealing with.
And I think it's also not just the area, but the condition of the rental unit. Because if it's modern and well looked after and painted nicely and floors clean and the whole place shines and it looks nice, then you'll attract all types of tenants, and now it's your job to kind of filter who you want in it. But if you've got a property that's in rougher shape, maybe smells like smoke or has dog or cat damage or just is not in good condition, then you're only going to attract a type of tenant that will accept that condition and doesn't mind living in that, as opposed to you won't attract the one that wants it pristine. And
Exactly.
I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So if you're not going to live in the property, then I guess the where it's located is a little less important.
Yeah, I mean, we still want to be able to drive, if we're managing it, right?
So if it's self-managed,
Self-managed, you want to be able to drive there and show it and make sure that, if you get a call to collect rent, you don't have to drive 2 hours to go get your rent.
Right.
Because that'll wear you thin pretty quick. And if you have a manager, however, the location, as long as it's a good manager, isn't as important because they're the one going to the property. They're getting the rents. They're dealing with the tenants when there's an issue. So it frees you up as far as needing to drive there.
Right. So in that case, you might even choose something that could be in a neighboring town that's going to give you more cash flow, maybe not as high appreciation. So there's different give and take in investment properties.
Absolutely.
Based on location. Yeah. So you've sold a few properties recently,
I've
kind
sold
of
a few.
outside of Ottawa.
Yeah, absolutely.
And more in the multi-unit kind of properties, and they're cash flowing really well.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about that. I've got clients who want different things. So I have some clients that I'm helping right now that want to buy inside the city. And the reason is the appreciation's very good, they know where the city's headed, and generally they cash flow almost zero, a little bit positive, but around that mark.
Okay.
And that will go up over the years, however, currently that's where it sits. And then I've got my other clientele that don't need the appreciation, they need the cash. They're either retiring or they want the extra money to do more traveling, and so they need the income today.
Or ministry.
Or ministry, yeah. We have quite a few people who are going into ministry that want the extra cash so they can free themselves up to do that.
So it's not a lump of cash, they're using a lump of cash to buy a property so that it monthly pays them an income.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only are they using their money, they're using the bank's money to get this cash.
Right, so
They're
to get the
leveraging
property.
it.
So they're leveraging,
Right.
and which is a great way to build wealth. Okay, so talk to me about Toperty.
Yeah, that's my baby. So Toperty, I've been working with clients for 4 and a bit years now through investment properties. And
Hold on a second. Let me back you up a second.
Yeah.
So you're working with investment properties and investment buyers. You do homes as well for
Absolutely.
people. But you've been doing that for about 4.5 years or so. How does someone get a hold of you if they say, hey, you know what, maybe investing's for me, maybe it's not, I don't know yet. What would be the steps you would suggest they go through to decide if that's something for them?
so if you have no idea of investing, you just kind of hear it today and you're like, my interest is peaked, now what? Come to our investor workshop.
Okay,
You're
second
gonna-
Thursday of the month?
Second Thursday of every month. Come on out. It's free. It's great information, and you'll get the foundation.
And you need to register?
And you need to register. So you can call us at our office here.
Yeah, 613-860-4663 to register for the Financial Wealth Building class, which we talk about. Part of the class is on investing in real estate.
And other things. So
Yeah.
you're going to get a really good foundation.
Broad range.
Which
yeah.
is, where to start. And then once you get your foundation and you know kind of where you want to head, do you want investment properties, do you want, second mortgages that you're giving the money, you'll know the next step. And normally that is go see a mortgage broker, which my favorite is Lynn Fraser. So you can give her a call, and she was on 10 minutes ago. And so you got her info. And she's fantastic. And she'll be able to figure out with you, can you afford one right now? What's the next steps to getting the money to do that? And then you'll come see me. And when you come see me, we'll sit down and we'll create a plan specific for you on what kind of building, where it needs to be, what kind of tenants you're going to have, and really create that plan for you and your family.
Okay, so what if I go to the class or workshop, we call it, because a workshop is where it's interactive and you actually develop a plan or something. A class, you just sit and learn and listen. You will learn some stuff, but it's a little more interactive. I go to that workshop, and then, I think maybe I'm going to invest, but I'm not sure. I've got some resources, or I've got some equity in my house, and I've got a little bit of money. Do I put it into RSPs? Do I put it in TFSAs? Do I put it into RESPs? Do I do just a GIC? What are my avenues? Do I do a second mortgage? And I'm just a little confused over all the options there are for investing. What's the next step?
A fantastic question. So Ken and myself, meaning you and me, I don't know how to say that. Anyways, we hold one-on-ones with people where it's really two-on-twos, but that's okay, where we sit down with you and we're going to go over your specific situation. What's your income? What's your debts? What's your budget? What's your net worth? And we'll help you with this. So if some of these words are like, what? Don't worry about it. First step, come to the workshop. Second is we'll sit down with you. And again, this is free. And we'll give you the next 6 steps or 3 steps or 7 steps, whatever for you we would do in your situation.
Okay. So that's awesome. So why would you do... That's interesting, because you're a real estate agent.
Yeah.
I'm a real estate agent.
That's right.
And here we are meeting with people about their financial well-being and next steps. Not that we're telling them they have to do it, but giving them a few ideas of what we would do on our next steps towards financial wealth building or just being a good steward. Sometimes it's about getting out of debt.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So why would we do that for people? Because we don't charge for it.
We don't charge for that.
Yeah.
So the biggest reason is we both have a passion to helping people with their finances. God-given, whatever you want to call it, it's there. And so this is our way to give back and our way to fulfill that part of what God's put in us. And then on top of that, the more educated you are from us, hopefully you'll be able to buy real estate at some point if that's what's in your best interest. And then we're there to work with you. And then we will get paid when you buy something.
Okay.
And then the other thing is we're always looking for your friends. Family members, people you go to church with. We would love to work with them, and so send them our way.
Okay, so it's a matter of really serving.
Yeah,
it's our way of serving and being a part of a ministry within our business, really.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we believe that many Christians are living under a load of debt, which is stealing from their joy, really, and building wealth and getting out of debt. And because God doesn't say wealth is a bad thing, because with wealth you can do multiple things. And so anyway, if you're just joining us because you just turned the dial to 99.1 and you heard the show and they're talking about investing and you go, what is this? You've joined the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team, and we're glad you joined. And if you want to hear the beginning of it, you can find it online in the next couple of days. You can find it at chri.ca, or you can find it at dekkerteam.com. And you can also find it in video form, so you get to see what these good looking
radio only guys.
Yeah. And a lot of times you say I've got a face for radio, but this time we're
doing both.
We're doing video as well. But
I'm not sure what that means.
So we're talking about investing in real estate and why do it. Ryan, you come from a background in business at Algonquin, in business finance background, and most of the people that graduate from that program end up being financial planners,
working in a bank, selling insurance.
Yeah, those kind of financial products. And you chose not to go into that and go into real estate. Tell us a little bit about why that shift.
So I want to be careful here because financial planners are awesome. They're very good. There's nothing wrong with them. What I found, though, was that I wasn't able to help people enough.
Okay.
When they talk to us, they teach us in school that they do this study where they took a monkey and they threw these darts at a board, and wherever the darts landed, they would buy that stock.
Okay, so they put the stocks all over the board.
Stocks all over the board randomly. Yep. The monkey would throw the darts, and they'd pick these stocks. And they would compare that with what the actual managers who are paid are doing.
Paid a lot of money.
Paid a lot of money. And after the manager was paid, the increase was almost identical or beaten by the monkey. Now, they didn't pay the monkey. However, that being said...
Not even bananas?
Well, I'm sure they fed him. But anyways, that being said, it kind of baffled me. Like, if it's so hard to get people extra increase than what anyone else can do, and really, it's so volatile. You can't predict it. And it just got me thinking, I want to do more for people. How can I do more? And I bought real estate when I was still in school. So I got to experience that benefit firsthand on how fast it can increase and the cash flow that comes in. And I wanted other people to have that.
Okay. And when we do our workshop on building wealth, we don't discourage people from investing in stocks, mutual funds, and that sort of thing. But what we do say is, let's diversify a bit.
Yeah.
Because if all your assets are in that, then there's maybe a problem. Because it's a very volatile market. And we show you how to benefit in that market to the highest level.
Yes, that's also in the
financial workshop.
Absolutely.
And then when there's extra cash and you want to buy a property, we're there for you as well, right?
And
we even cover insurance on our one-on-one, not in the workshop, but on our one-on-one, we're kind of looking at your whole financial side of your life and whether you're protecting your family and whether you have enough insurance. And we don't sell insurance. We'll refer you to somebody that can, but we're really looking at, we want to make sure that you're covered for emergencies and that you're, what do you call it,
mitigation.
Mitigation, yeah. We want to mitigate your amount of risk by either through insurance, fire insurance if you own property, making sure that we can get you a tenant, that your rate's locked in. All these things mitigate the amount of risk.
Now, I had a client the other day that said, I'm risky, my wife's not. And I looked at her and I said, well, do you want risk? Because I can put you in some pretty risky situations. Or do you want increase and rate of return? Because they're not together. People always think more risk, more rate of return, less risk, less rate of return. They're not exclusive.
Right. They are exclusive.
Sorry, they are exclusive. They're not
connected.
Mutual,
it's a way that the people have instilled in you. Because if you look at GICs, they say, they're guaranteed investment certificates, so there's little risk, little return. Well, it's actually not little return, it's no return, because to me it's the riskiest thing you can invest in, because inflation's typically higher than the rate of return. So you're losing money every day. How can that not be risky?
You're not losing money, losing buying power.
Yeah. You have more money, but it can't buy as much, so you've in fact really lost money.
And we're not going to go into this now. However, you're taxed on that increase as well.
Immediately.
Whereas with real estate, there's ways to defer that tax, and it's usually less tax. It's half as much as it would be otherwise, which gets really powerful as that's compounding year over year.
Right. And so I'm going to get back to Topperty because I know you're really excited about it. Topperty is your brainchild, and it kind of came out of your education in the college and your understanding of spreadsheets and finance and rate of returns and cap rates and long-term projections and all that sort of stuff. And you've packaged that, and it's in with the web developers right now, to create a, what's your strategy? A simple brilliance. Yeah. So this is going to be simple to use, but gives you brilliant information
Absolutely.
the other side.
Because a lot of people, they say the reason they don't invest is because they've heard horror stories. That's one reason. The second reason is they don't understand the increase or the benefit that's there. They may have seen the houses market go up, but they don't get it.
So they don't understand the triple benefit of real estate.
And how
3 ways you can make income on real estate.
Yeah. So the 3 main ways: cash flow, equity increase, and
mortgage pay down.
Mortgage pay down.
So that's the power of 3. So now Topperty. Why are we talking about Topperty now when it hasn't even been launched?
Yeah. So it'll be launched January.
What's your website?
Topperty.com.
.com.
2 P's. TOPP. Pierre.
And so it stands for Top Property.
Yeah.
And so what the system will allow people to do is analyze investment properties by dropping their numbers in very simply.
Yeah.
Just watch it through a couple screens. You drop some numbers in, and
it pumps out with the 25-year projections for increase, cash flow, and mortgage pay down. And
that's simply brilliant.
It's simply brilliant. And that's really, it's so easy and so simple, and yet you can make brilliant decisions that are going to affect your family for the rest of your lives.
Right.
And that's why it's there.
And so that's going to have a subscription fee, like a monthly fee to have access to that. And realtors
Minimal
are going to
fee,
have
though.
access to it. It's very small.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, though, is the features that website is going to have, you supply your clients with now. It's just not web form.
Correct.
But when they're interested in a property, you run all the numbers through this program for them.
And I've created,
that you've created, which is phenomenal. People love it. Your investors love that.
They do.
Yeah. So if they sign up with us to go work with you to find an investment property, then you're going to run all the properties through this Topperty program for them and give them printouts of what it's going to look like.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
That's
amazing. So how do they connect with you again?
So again, you can call the office or email us at info@dekkerteam.com or call us at 613-860-4663. That's 613-860-4663.
Now, have you seen any properties lately that would be a good investment, or have you sold them all to your clients?
You know what? There's always properties coming on the market, and often it's an okay deal, and then we go and make it a great deal.
How do you make it a great deal?
So a lot of people think it's only on the purchase price, and that's a good part of it. We want to make sure we're getting market value or less for this property, and however, what can we do to get more tenants in? What can we do to raise the rents? What can we do so we don't have any vacancies? And we time it right for our clients. And so that turns it from a good deal into a great deal very quickly.
Okay. So sometimes mortgage take-back might be a
Sometimes not
good
as
deal.
common in
Not
this
as common?
market right now. However, that may come more popular as the market gets a little tougher.
Right. I think relative to interest rates, they're so low right now, which makes investment properties even shine even more. If the rates start going up and the affordability of the rental properties for cash flowing things start to struggle, what you may find is that the sellers will offer a slightly reduced mortgage rate for a second or even a first to move a property if they've decided it's not what they want in their portfolio, or maybe they're retiring and now they're liquidating their portfolio, all kinds of things. So that's really great. Can you talk to us for a second about, some people want to know whether we would buy a property in my own name or buy it under a corporation?
Great question. So until you've bought a few, normally it's cheapest and best just to keep it in your own name.
Okay.
And then as you start to accumulate more and more properties, at some point you'll go into a corporation. However, for most people, that's not what they need right now.
Okay. Yeah, because there's corporations are really designed for a couple reasons. One, to mitigate risk, which you can do through insurance. Secondly, they're designed to delay the tax implication, so they have a lower tax implication on income, and then that can be sheltered in there. The beauty with real estate is if you're not selling it, it's already sheltered. There's no tax on the growth. There's only tax on the cash flow plus the amount of the principal pay down of the mortgage, which is really part of the cash flow. And so that's taxable, but then you could depreciate the property if you want. You talk to your tax accountant, and so really you can get a zero tax increase from your investment properties if you want to. And so there's really not that concern of putting them into a corporation like there would be if it didn't have those benefits. The other thing is when a corporation buys a property and puts a mortgage on it, they don't get the personal lending rate. They get a business lending rate, which is typically
more money.
Yeah, a percent or 1.5% or 2% more, depending on the strength of the deal. Very cool. So we got a couple minutes. Any last suggestions you got for people about investing in real estate, why they should do it, or at least get informed about it?
Okay, so 3 quick thoughts. First one is Asian proverb, when's the best time to plant a tree? And the answer is 20 years ago.
Right.
And when's the next best time? Today.
Right.
And so if you're thinking about real estate, or if you have some real estate and you want more, this would be the time. You know, you can't go back in time, so use what you got. And the second thing is some people say, you know, am I too old to have real estate? And the reality is our rate of return we can get on leveraged real estate is very attractive. And in a couple of years, you can see a fair bit of increase or cash flow, depending on how you...
So it's not really age dependent.
Other than you need to be 18.
Right, but older is okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you say, oh, well, I'm taking a 25-year mortgage and I don't think I'll be alive for 25 years.
That's fine.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Because it just doesn't matter. It grows and it cash flows, and it's a way of building a legacy for your family.
Absolutely.
And what was the third thing you said?
Oh, come out to the workshops.
Yeah?
Come get educated.
Okay, so the workshop is the second Thursday of every month. And you'll probably see yours truly, both of us there.
Yeah, both of us.
Unless one of us is out of the country or something, you'll see both of us there. And again, to register for that, 613-860-4663. And then after experiencing that, if you think, hey, I would like a one-on-one financial planning session for free with the Dekker team, we'll do that for you. It takes about an hour. There's a little bit of life work you got to do to fill out some forms and get ready for your consultation, but it's really eye-opening for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Just real quick, I did one the other day, and the person was spending $1,000 a month on insurance because it had some kind of savings program. It was a horrible deal for him, and it was spending almost half of his income on this insurance. And so we immediately got it canceled, stopped the bleeding, buy some term insurance for a lot less money, and it's going to impact his financial well-being for years to come, because we got in there and saw that. So thanks for joining the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker team. We're glad you joined us, and once again, if you want to contact us, 613-860-4663. Bye for now.
Bye.